Hello everyone, let us see the pattern option in Photoshop. So let us start. We'll be creating a pattern and we'll be first creating the document. We'll select a 2 by 2 inches document and we can give best resolution, which is 300, and we'll give the name to our document as pattern. So here is the document and we will fill the document with let's say a light yellow color, right, and we will then select a red color as foreground and also green as background, and we will now select some brushes. We will select these flower brushes. So these are azalea brushes which are found inside special effect brushes, and now we will create some simple flower pattern. So first we will change the tool to brush tool, and I will select these azalea brushes from special effect brushes folder, which is inside the legacy brushes folder, right. So let's create some simple flower designs, or let's say pattern. So something like this, and also we can add some other brush strokes, such as the butterfly brush strokes. So something like this to give some extra attraction. Right. So now let's make this into a pattern. So we'll go to edit, and in edit we have an option define pattern. So we'll simply select the define pattern and we can give the name flower pattern, right. So now our pattern is created. So where we can check our pattern, we can just go to edit and we can go to fill, and in fill we can just find the contents and in contents we have the option pattern, and our pattern is saved inside this custom pattern. So here is our pattern, right. So how we can use this pattern? So we can create this pattern on a shirt. So let's select this person's image. So what we'll be doing is we'll first select his shirt. So we'll use the quick selection tool and we will properly select his shirt. So we have selected his shirt. We will deselect unwanted areas. Only will select his shirt portion. We can zoom and select properly, right. So now we have selected his shirt. So now we will fill his shirt with the pattern that we have just now saved. So what we'll be doing is, with the selection active, we can select the pattern stamp tool, which is over here, and we can just select the pattern that we have just now saved, and in this panel we can find our pattern over here. So we can just select our pattern and we can just paint our pattern. So we can paint it like this, and we can do this on a separate layer so that we can combine this pattern with blending modes. So this is the pattern, and we can just use certain blending modes like multiply, we can use linear burn, we can also use soft light or overlay, and we can combine the pattern with the blending modes. So something like this. And there is also another way of applying the pattern. So that another way is we can simply go to edit, and here we can select fill, and we can select our pattern, and here we will find our pattern and simply we will click OK. So this is another way of applying a pattern. And then we can again use the blending mode. We can find a best blending mode to see the effect of the pattern. And there is also another way of applying the pattern, and that another way is we can just select an option at the bottom of our layers panel, which is create new fill and adjustment, and here we have the option pattern. So we will first apply this pattern. So we can see some default pattern is applied to the shirt, but we will select our own pattern. So this is our own pattern, and the good thing about this pattern fill dialog is we can actually scale the pattern. We can make the pattern big. So we can see here we can tile the pattern, and we can also rotate the angle of the pattern. So we can do something like this. And once we are satisfied, we can then combine this pattern with some blending modes. So we can see here we can combine with the multiply, or we can select soft light. Soft light looks better, but if we want the pattern to be a little bit dark, we can just take a duplicate of this pattern fill layer. So we can see. So this is the one good use of pattern. Another good use of pattern is we can create passport size photocopies of a person. So here is the image of a person. Let's create copies or photocopies of this person using the pattern option. So first let's create a document. So we will create a document which has 2 inches width and 3 inches height, and we'll just rename the document as passport photo, and we will also give the resolution as 300. So this is the document, and we'll drag this image inside this document. So we can see how big the image is because we have selected a small size document, and in this small size document we'll be creating a pattern. So now let's scale it down. Let's adjust the image. So even if we are going to crop some portions of the image, it's okay, but let's not stretch the image. It's not a good idea to stretch the image, right? So now we have adjusted the image properly. Now what we'll be doing is we'll be creating some borders. So to create a border around this image, we'll select the marquee tool, the rectangular marquee tool, and we will draw a selection around this person, and we'll go to edit, and here we have the option stroke, and we will give a dark red color stroke, and we will also give it a width of let's say 15 pixels, and we'll keep the location as center. So we can see a border. A border is a very important thing because now we have to create copies of this single image or single photo. So if we are going to create copies, we need to have a border between each copy. Only then we are able to cut those copies after giving all the copies for print. Right. So now we'll create a pattern out of this passport photograph. So we'll simply go to edit, and in edit we have this define pattern. We'll just simply give the name passport photo and simply click OK. Now we'll create a new document, and how much should be the width and height of the new document. See, first thing, let's calculate. So here a single photograph has the size 2 inches width and 3 inches height. So if we want 40 copies, we'll be placing 10 copies in each row. It means we are going to get total of 4 rows, because the total number of copies we are going to create is 40. So we'll be arranging 10 copies in each row. It means the width of the document has to be 10 into 2, which is 20 inches, and we will get 4 rows. So it means we have to multiply 4 with 3, so that is 12. So if we want exact 40 copies, we have to take a document of 20 inches width and 12 inches height. So now let's create a document that has 20 inches width and 12 inches height, and let's keep the resolution to 300. In that way our document is going to have a best quality, or we'll be creating a high resolution output. We'll be giving a high resolution output. So now we will just rename the document as passport pic copies. Right. And now we will create the document. So here is the document. Now we will fill the pattern. So we'll simply go to edit, and here we have the option fill, and the fill dialog appears, and in the fill dialog here we have the custom pattern, and from the pattern we will select our passport pic and we will simply click OK. So we can see here. So we have created exact number of copies. We got 40 copies. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we have 10 copies in each row, and total we have 4 rows. So it means the total number of copies are 40. So now if we give this document for print, we can just cut the copies and we can create 40 separate copies. We also have the border, so it will be easy for us to cut each photograph or each photo. So this is another good use of the pattern option in Photoshop. We will now design a movie ticket, and we will create 100 copies of that movie ticket using the pattern option. So first we will create a document. So what we will be doing is we will simply select 3 inches width and 2 inches height, and we will put the resolution as 300. We will rename the document as movie ticket. Right. So here is the document, and now we will first drag this image which has a popcorn and a Coke into this document, and we will scale it down. We will adjust the image properly. Right. Now we will also create one nice background below this image. We can just create a red color, or let's say let's create a green color background. Let's just use light green and dark green colors. So we can just change the position of these sliders. And let's reduce the dark green color to a little bit lighter green. So this much is okay. Right. So now let's fill the document with this particular color. And we will be using the radial gradient, and also here we have dark color at the center. We want a light color at the center. So we will just turn off this reverse option here, and we will just create the gradient or radial gradient, which has light color at the center and dark colors at the corners. And we can also make the light color a little bit dark. Right. So now we will create one more time. So this is the gradient, and we will now turn on the image layer, and we will combine the image with a blending mode. Combine the image layer and the background layer with a blending mode, which is multiply. And we will reduce the opacity here so that the image doesn't look too dark. Right. So this is the background, and now what we'll be doing is we will just put the name of the theater. So the movie is screened in IMAX, so we will just use IMAX, and we can just give it a different color. So we will use let's say a white color only. So we'll just keep it over here, and we will give some drop shadow to the text. So here we have a drop shadow to the text, and let's keep the text a little bit inside the document, and also we have to center align the text. Right. And then we will create one nice border around the ticket. We'll just take a new layer, and we'll go to edit, and here we have the option stroke. Just like before, we will just create a stroke which has a width of 15 pixels, and also we will select a pure white color. Let's see if 15 is too much, we can reduce the width. Okay, it's okay, 15 is okay. And to make it more attractive, we will create one more border inside the outer border. So something like this. Now we will just go to edit, stroke, and this time we will give a width of, let's say, 3, and we'll simply click OK. So we got a thin border. Right. Then the next thing is we will now put some text at the bottom. So we will just put balcony. We will just scale it down. We can also give it a small amount of drop shadow, and we will take one more duplicate of this. We'll keep the duplicate to the right, and we will rename this as row 2, and we will take one more duplicate, and we will just keep it to the left. We need to align all the text content with equal spacing. So now we will rename this screen 1, and we will also try to adjust the text. Right. Then what we'll be doing is we will now get the image of this Avengers poster, and we'll keep it here. We will then put some content over here. This place looks empty, so what we'll be doing is we will just select a rectangle tool, and we will make this rectangle into a rounded rectangle. First let's create a rectangle here, and then we will just make it into a rounded rectangle. We want just a border, that's it. We don't want a fill color here, so we will just turn off the fill and we'll just keep a white color border. Here we have the stroke. We can just slightly increase the stroke width. This much is okay. Right, now we'll put some text inside this rectangle. So the text that we are going to put is, so we'll just put the timings of our movie. So we'll just put 6:30 p.m. You can just keep it here, and then we'll also put the date. We'll just put Saturday. We'll put 25th, and we'll just put February. That's it. So we can then just adjust it properly. We need to adjust all the content properly, and we can just give a drop shadow to the timings and also to the date, and we can just copy the same layer styles to the date also. Right, so we have just completed our ticket. So now we'll make this into a pattern. So to make this into a pattern, we simply have to go to edit, and here we have the option define pattern, and we'll just give it a name, movie ticket copies. And now we'll be creating 100 copies of these movie tickets, of this particular movie ticket. So if we want to create 100 copies, we have to create a document that has 10 copies in each row and 10 copies in each column. So we will be having total of 10 rows and also 10 columns. So it means this particular document size is 3 inches width and 2 inches height. It means if we want 100 copies, we have to create a document that has 30 inches width and 20 inches height and a resolution of 300, and we will just give the name for this document, ticket copies. Right, so now that we have created the document, now we will fill the pattern of movie tickets. So we'll simply go to edit, and here we have the option fill, and the fill dialog appears, and here we have the custom pattern, and from this custom pattern let us select the movie ticket, and we'll simply click OK. So here we have created 100 tickets. So we have created 100 movie tickets. So this is another good use of pattern. Now if we give this entire sheet for print, we can then cut the tickets and create a separate copies of all the tickets. So this is one good use of pattern. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please do like, subscribe, share, and if you have anything to say, do comment. See you again.